Okay, hey guys. I know it's been a while, and I'm really sorry that it's been a while, but let me just try and let me have a seat. So on my feet. On my feet, get it? Have a seat. You're always on your feet. Anyways, so I'm doing a second take on this because I generally don't do that because I feel like when something is meant to be real and meant to be coming from your heart or whatever, then to me one take should be sufficient. However, in this case, I just had someone visit me and sort of just have a chat with me about stuff, and I'd already filmed what you're about. Like, I've already filmed this, so I'm redoing it now. And I think it's with good intention because the first round I kind of, I watched it back and I'd already edited. I just haven't uploaded yet. And I know my eyes are darting all over the place. I think it's because it should be about plants and it isn't, and so because it's very personal, I tend to try and avoid having to talk about something that realistically affects my life outside of gardens and plants and things. So my partner has been diagnosed with transverse myelitis, which is a rare neurological condition in which it's ridiculous, it's crazy, it's just stupid, I hate it. He's 30 years old, he doesn't deserve this, but then you can argue that life is just what it is, and it doesn't necessarily go on whether people deserve things or not, right? Okay, great. That said, Transverse, I will leave a couple of links in the description bar so you can actually have a look if you are curious as to what this is. It is, it's like when you get a bowl of like slips of paper and you're meant to like pick something to win a prize. Okay, so imagine the bowl was filled with a whole lot of diseases or conditions or whatever, and you stick your hand in. You're kind of hoping for that you don't get the one that, like the rarest one. Okay, so this is that. So he managed to pick out the crappiest one of all. And banking on the fact that that's not actually how life works, sticking your hand into a little bowl and picking out a surprise, that makes it just that much worse. So before I get into the plants, I just felt that I needed to share this with you. So it's been a trying time. He's been bedridden for I don't know how many months now. I've even lost track. I think myself, like me personally, I have been struggling with just trying to wrap my head around it, and I don't know whether I'm coming or going in a lot of instances, and my time is not mine, but that's totally fine because, I mean, this is what you sign up for when you enter a relationship, right? It's meant to be shared. And I'm not going to say it's easy because I'm someone, I'm very selfish with my time, to be honest. So it's been very difficult for me to I don't know, it's just taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot about myself, and it's taught me a lot about illness and about him, and I am seeing someone, so I haven't really managed to kind of fully wrap my head around it, and I really haven't. And I hope that I will, and we have had a lot of support. I just... It's so ridiculous, man, and it's so disheartening and sad and all of that sort of things. And over and above everything, I think what makes it, more challenging is the fact that I've not really had experience with like severe illness or death in my family or something like that. And I'm 39 years old. It's a blessing or a curse, I'm really not sure, but that's neither here nor there, because we're currently like having to deal with it. Just what I mean by that is that I don't really have a lot of experience with that sort of thing. So condolences when people die, especially now during COVID and this crazy time that we're living in. It's just, I'm grappling. Yeah, I am. And I'm gonna say it out straight, and I'll look you in the eye without blinking or darting my eyes around. I am, or have been, grappling. I am super glad that summer is here, because I am intrinsically, strangely linked to weather, as many of you are, I'm sure. And so when the weather warms up and it gets up to about 25 and more and 40 degrees and stuff like yesterday, then I am super happy, and I somehow managed to kind of push through, as we all should. So if you know what TM, or transverse myelitis, is, then you'll know exactly what I am talking about and what I may potentially, or we may potentially, be going through, because this is a we thing. If you don't, then count yourself lucky and just count your blessings, because it is great that you don't. I'm glad for you that you don't. Okay, so onto the plants, right? A while back we germinated, I did the morphology, plant morphology of Sarracenia and Venus flytrap, and forgive me if I'm still kind of like, because that's just kind of how my brain's functioning right now. Okay, so we did the plants, we did morphology on Sarracenias. I showed you the different parts of the plants. I will leave a link in the description, either there or there. And then we pollinated, harvested, collected the seed, and then I put the seed into the door of my refrigerator, wrapped in some paper, and kept there for what was meant to be a month, but I left it for longer in light of crazy recent events. And so I would hazard a guess and say that I left it there for 2 months, perhaps, or maybe more, maybe less, a little bit less, but definitely more than a month. And that is to simulate cold stratification. So the plant comes from an area where it goes through very cold, low temperatures, and that will cause the seed to wake up. You know, when spring comes. So we did that, and then the little guy who comes and helps me with plant lessons, he gets plant lessons and things like that at the nursery. The two of us helped. He helped me to sow the seeds, right? So we did the seeds together, and then a couple of months later, this is what we're sitting with. So I have to admit, there were a couple of mistakes that I made. I should have powdered a little bit of sand over the seeds, not to cover them, but just to kind of lock them in place, as I'll explain later. But I didn't do that, and the tray that I set the seeds in was too deep. So when it rained, especially overnight, the container that they were set in flooded, and so a lot of the seeds washed away. But I still do have a very high germination rate, so you know, that's neither here nor there. And then in the other container, which I will also show you, where they were unable to float away, there is some adequate germination. So this is that is that. So let's go take a look at that. And yeah, welcome back, right? And spring and fantastic stuff, and yeah, lock it away. Woosa. Let's go. Okay, so these are the seeds for the Sarracenia alata. Okay, and then here I actually just realized I didn't bring the seeds along with me that I wanted for Venus flytraps. I've got another package of seed. This was the crappy package, but there are luckily there are a couple of seeds in there, so I'll do the other seeds on another day. but in the meantime we'll actually sow some of these in between as well. Now the seeds themselves, if you check on the other episode where I show you what the seeds look like, you'll actually get to see them very clearly. But they are tiny, black and shiny. Okay, so you can kind of see those two right there. There are 3 of them now in a row on the fold of the paper. Those are what Venus flytrap seeds look like. So we're going to sow them directly onto the surface of the growing medium that we've prepared, and then we'll wait. Okay. So here we've got, I've done 1 tray with 2 halves for the 2 different species. We're going to do Venus flytraps in this section, and we are going to do Sarracenias on this section. The tray itself is standing in a deeper tray, which we're going to fill with water to help saturate the soil, which is very important if you're sowing seed, or even for carnivorous plants, as you know, since they're bog plants. Now, what we're just going to do is we're going to just water it with a soft shower of rainwater, okay, which is also important. If you don't have rainwater, try filtered water that is absolutely nutrient free. And we're just going to keep doing this and reapplying water until it is completely and utterly soaked. And a good idea would also actually be just to fill the tray that it's standing in with water in order for the water to soak up through the bottom holes, which will be useful. What I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to grab a pinch of seed, okay, and per hole I'm literally just going to put like an average of maybe 5 seeds, and just kind of sprinkle them across each segment. You don't just want to sow all over the place, because then the plants will come up right on the edge of each cell and that sort of thing, which is what you don't want. So you actually just want to kind of put them in the center, aim for the center of each little cell, and you just continue that process. Okay, so let's put that one down over here.
So how come the seeds don't need to be under the soil?
The size of the seed, like, so let's say it's about the size of my thumb. You're gonna have the tip of my thumb stick out, right? So if the seed is the size of my thumbnail, then you're gonna bury that seed. You're just gonna kind of push it down into the soil so that the very tip of the seed sort of peeks out. That's my experience of how deep to plant a seed. So generally the size of the seed is how deep you're going to put it, but only the tip just sticks out. So if the seed is the size of like a mustard seed, you're not going to bury the seed. If you really want to secure the seed, which is what I should have done, you can take a little bit of fine sand or river sand or something like that, and just kind of powder it over the top, just to kind of lock the seeds in place a little bit. But do not cover them, because if the seed is too far below the surface of the soil, it will not be able to germinate as well as it would if it was sitting on the top. In this case, I should have actually just kind of drizzled some sand over the seed to prevent the seeds from drifting away. But even greater than that, I should have had the foresight to think that the tray is going to flood and the seed will actually drift away. Lesson learned for next time. So that is basically why you don't bury the seed. I hope that answers yours and his question. Okay, back to the video. Hey, okay, so 28th of July we sowed those seeds, and it is now the 10th of October. Okay, so it's a couple of months on, and let's take a look at the Sarracenia and Venus flytrap seed that we've sown. I did also have some extra Sarracenia seed, which I sowed into a very separate container with a more Venus flytrap type mix. And we've had quite a bit of rain, so I will explain to you what has happened We do have germination, definitely, but we also have had flooding in the container, which means the seeds have drifted away and also kind of just spilled over out of the container. So I've lost some of the seed because, yeah, well, look, when it rains at night, what are you going to do? Get up, run to the nursery, and then go and decant containers? Sounds like a plan for next time, actually. Okay, let's take a look. Right, so here we have got the trays that we sort of filled up with seed. Now, for example, there you can see some seed germinating there. There. They're kind of coming up sporadically all over the place. And I did sow some Sarracenia seed even in the Venus flytrap sort of half of the tray. So if you missed it, this was meant to be Sarracenia, that was meant to be Venus flytrap. The seeds kind of got jumbled because when the tray fills up with water when it rains, there's no roof over this area, so it literally just flooded, and you'll actually see some of the seeds still stuck to the side of the container there, right? Can you see that? Yeah, well, there's a seed. I'm just going to drop that in there. There's another one right there. And then there's a few more sort of along the edge in the water here, right there. So that is unfortunate, but lesson learned. But nevertheless, you'll see that there are plenty of seed all over, and they're literally just they're coming up all over. There's at least one in every cell, kind of, at this point. Sometimes 2 or 3. Okay, so that's that Stanley cat. And then I did also sow some seed. And what's interesting to me is, since as adults, the Sarracenias grow in a mix of perlite and peat, it's interesting to me that they've come up in just the peat without any problems at all, which is great to know. So yeah, I think we sometimes make a big fuss about germination strategies with plants in cultivated conditions as opposed to natural conditions, but I'm sure that the plant's not going to go, hey, it's not 50% perlite and 50% peat, what's going on here, you know? So yeah, in this case we've got success. They're going to look really, really great. They're coming up quite aggressively. The more I look, the more I actually see more of them coming up. But where I've had even more success than this is where I've got no cells like this, no cells, and you can actually still see the Sarracenia seed sitting there and on the surface. And this is a bog container, like the bog gardens that I made, right? You can see the little Venus flytrap blooming right there. So these guys have actually come up all over this area that I've sort of sowed them in. There are some Venus flytrap seeds in here as well. I imagine in the other container that the Venus flytrap seeds have actually also been washed out, but because they're black, you can't really spot them because the container's black as well. So in this case here, I'm sure that the flytrap seeds have not escaped, but I don't know or think I'd be able to tell the difference between them at seedling stage. So yeah, but nevertheless, there you see quite a bit of Sarracenia seed actually just emerging right now. So this is the start of spring for us. Spring is generally quite late. So yeah, I did also put some in here, the container in the front, and you can begin to see there's some little Sarracenia. You can kind of see them still stuck to their little seed case. Okay, so that is how to germinate Sarracenia seed, guys. Welcome to spring. Ooh, look, there's a hawk moth. There's a hawk moth right there. Come here. Oh, yes. Oh, it's okay. Look, I think it's spent. Oh, jeez, my camera is, it's been a while. It's been a while. There's that still not focusing? Anyways. Yeah. Well, there we go. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll catch you in quite a few of the next ones coming up. So see you later. Have a good day, okay?